of the Midwest Speedfest Runner Spotlight. Back again, as always, I'm Newt. I'm going to be hosting once again. And joining me today is RazorFlameKun. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad at all. Um, it's been a busy day. That's why we
Yep.
had to push the stream back a little bit. But yeah,
Yep.
I'm doing pretty well. And Razor Flame, I guess my first question for you is now you just recently started getting into speedrunning, like
Yep.
within the last few months
Not earlier in February.
in February. So, can you tell me a little bit about what got you into speedrunning in the first place?
I've been a longtime viewer of GDQ and then RPG Limit Break and then ESA. So I mean, I've been watching speedruns for a couple of years now, and that's there have been a bunch of runs that have gotten me into speed. I mean, like I can't name all of them because there's
There's so many.
but no, I mean I'm talking like specific runs that have specifically inspired me.
Yeah.
I can there were some of the runs that some of the people that have gotten me interested in running were PJ,
Yeah.
especially Puexel,
Yeah.
Professor Palmer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, those and then Vuligen
Oh yeah.
and half coordinated.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
So,
those five people were the main ones that got me extremely interested just based on what they ran.
yeah, I get that.
Um, and after, but I started this started back like 4 or 5 years ago, and I just didn't really feel like it just didn't feel like something that I wanted to do until this year, and then that's also when I started my Twitch channel.
Yeah. So, just based off of the names that you were giving me, it sounds, and based off of the games that you've speedrun so far, it seems that you have a draw to a lot of older games like on the NES, and so on.
It depends. The the first games that I speed ran, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge was the first one I speed ran.
Yep.
And that's an old game, but most of the just looking on my speedrun.com profile, the majority of the games that I speedrun, I would say would qualify as retro. However, more recently, within the past 6 months, I've actually started speedrunning PC some PC games,
Okay.
and so I mean I have speedrun games that have come out more recently as well,
Yeah.
including one that came out this year.
And which game is that again?
The one that came out this year is Globe Sweeper.
Globe Sweeper. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I introduced it to speedrun.com, got it verified,
There you go.
got it accepted, and then started doing runs. And the same thing with Dungeon Hearts, which is a game that I have actually um, had in the most. That's the game that I've run the most in marathons.
Yeah. Um. Now, aside from a couple of games, it seems, or maybe not even, it seems that your draw has been to a lot of puzzle type games. Um, are those specific games that you've played? I mean, looking back, you see games like Tetris, um, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, and some others that you've ran at marathons. Is there something that drew you to those games in particular?
Um, there are games that that I've tended to excel at, just playing casually. And then actually, on my speedrun.com page right now, every single game that I run is a puzzle game.
It is.
But it's actually my second favorite genre of video game. My
Oh,
favorite
okay.
genre of video game is RPG.
Okay.
Uh, the problem with most RPGs though is that they're too long for me to
Yeah,
speedrun at this
yeah.
point in time.
I feel that.
Um, well, that also is because me personally, I have ADHD and I'm also on the autism spectrum, which
Hmm.
I take medication for the ADHD, which makes it so that doing runs longer than 6 or 7 hours would be out of the question
Yeah.
for me because the my pills start wearing off after about 8 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
So so that just makes it impossible for me
Yeah, I'm sure.
to do a lot of RPG speed runs. I am going to be speed running. There are two RPGs that I'm going to start learning. One is going to be Azure Dreams, which is a the GBC version, not the PS1 version. I'm going to be doing learning a category called All Bosses. It's the longest category,
Okay.
but it's just based on what's going on with my Twitch channel, with my current playthroughs that I'm doing, and uh, upcoming marathons. I'm not going to be able to start learning that until probably next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other RPG I'm going to be learning is Quest RPG, Brian's Journey, I believe that's the title. It's a remake of Quest 64 for Game Boy Color, I think.
Okay.
But it's a very obscure game. I got really interested in it when I watched a race between Bing Chang, and Pasama.
Okay.
On for in the last Quest for Glory, I watched that and it got me really interested in the game.
Yeah.
So that's actually much shorter. It's like 2.5, 3 hours instead of the all bosses, which I think first attempt would be like 6 or 7 hours.
Oh gosh, yeah. And even 2 or 3 hours is a big time commitment.
Yeah,
Um, Especially well, on my end, I haven't ran any games longer than like 40 minutes before. So
yeah.
personally, getting into longer games is a bit
Well,
tough.
some of the some of the puzzle games that I've run, there have been all of the Dr. Mario games that I've run have most of them at, are like the longer category, the 0 to 20,
Yeah.
or classic 0 to 24 in the case of Dr. Mario Online RX.
Yeah.
Are those ones are like an hour to an hour and a half.
Okay.
But there are some runs that I've done that puzzle games that I've done that can last a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
There's actually a run that I'm going to have to do one run of, which is going to really stretch me, and that's Dr. Mario Online RX Classic 0 to 99,
Oof.
which is it's the same as 0 to 24, except that after 24 you play 25 through 99.
Jeez.
I'm expecting it to take 8 to 10 hours.
Holy moly. Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah, but I've tried it several times and I've gotten bored about 2 hours in.
Yeah, I
But
don't blame you.
I've actually now that I've submitted it to a marathon, I'm actually going to do a run.
Okay. What marathon, may I ask?
I I I think it's the next Rogorama,
Okay.
Rogues on Ice, I believe it's called.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's not till December, so I have time.
Have a little bit of time to get ready for it. Yeah. So, you talked a little bit about some other marathons that you've been a part of, and I, I just like to hear you talk about what your experiences have been like running in different marathons, and
Yeah.
we'll get to the Midwest Speedfest events.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've been a part of in the past 6 months. I've been a part of so many marathons that I actually can't tell you which one which one is I believe the first one I was a part of was either ARPGME 2019, which is run
Okay.
by MASH from NASA, or
Okay.
it was actually the the Midwest Spring mid whatever the spring one is.
Mid-spring speed fling.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
was either
mouthful.
I think it was ARPGME 2019. That was the first one. I ran Dungeon Hearts at normal at that,
Okay.
and then after that it was the Speed Fling, which I actually forgot what I ran at that. But those are the first two, and then from there, um, I did a bunch of other online. But the first I did my first live marathon this year, which is NASA 2019.
Yeah.
And for that, I went there and I got 3 games in. I got Dr. Mario Online RX, which
Yep.
was I believe it was a 0 to 10 run. I got Pokemon Puzzle Challenge Intense
Yep.
and I got Dungeon Hearts Normal again
Okay.
in. My overall that experience there was the best that I've had
Excellent.
at all the marathons that I've been a part of, except for one, which we'll get to later. But
Yes.
in terms of that, I also helped commentate 5 runs for a friend as well,
Wow.
because he got 5 runs in. His name's FFR Pro 21.
Okay. Yeah.
So I commentated all of his runs as well as all of my runs.
Dang.
And then I sat on the couch for a run of another friend that
Jeez.
was a Ryko rider. I sat on a couch for one of his runs. I didn't commentate that, but yeah. But those that experience was probably and it wasn't the me running that was the best part. It was me actually. We actually got really into. I actually got really into the commentating.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Raiko did the commentary for all 5 of FFR Pro 21's runs, and that's what was like the best experience that I've had.
I feel that. I
Yeah,
definitely feel that.
and then after that, a bunch of other online marathons, and then we had Midwest Speedfest
Yeah, in August.
in
And
August.
that was your second live speedrunning event that you've been
Yep,
to?
second live event, and I did a repeat speed run, which was Pokemon Puzzle Challenge
Yep.
Intense. The problem, I know this is supposed to be a runner spotlight for Midwest Speed Fest, but overall, I just the it just didn't live up to the expect to some of the expectations I had. It just felt like there were a lot of people there that weren't really part of the event, and
It is being held at another
yeah,
convention does separate that. I mean,
yeah,
I totally get that
and
being.
and then I also had trouble at NASA 2019. I literally met almost all the other runners that were still at the event.
Mm-hmm.
At Midwest Speedfest, I really wasn't able to tell who was running and who wasn't.
Yeah, that's tricky, isn't it?
But I still met Gooby. I still met
Oh yeah.
like Rocket,
Mm-hmm.
like Sex Rex. I met him. One actually funny thing is he was right during the setup for my run. I didn't even know he was still behind the tech, but he was actually laying down on the ground sleeping. And Rocket was having trouble, and he just woke up and got up, and I was like, "What?" And then he just he just got up and started helping for the tech, because that was a big problem that I had. that was one of the problems that I had with the event
Oh, okay.
is that the tech could have been better. It wasn't as smooth as at NASA, where they just got they got everything done within like 10 minutes, and then the run started. I noticed with several other runs there were major hiccups or major delays because of tech. And I'm not blaming anyone. I just think it's something that could be better.
Yeah, for sure.
But 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 uh, but but the, but
It's
the event overall, I still like the event. It's just um, there's just some things that could be improved.
yeah, for sure. I I just wanted to say it's hilarious that you brought up that story of Sex Rex because the last person that I interviewed brought that up too. How Sex Rex was sleeping underneath the stage and woke up to help with a tech problem.
Yeah, yeah. No, no,
I didn't
no.
realize that was during your run.
I actually think it might have. It might. He might have done it several times because I didn't get there until Sunday, I think.
Okay.
Because my run was on Sunday and I didn't
Yeah.
get there till Sunday. And I actually didn't stay. I'm trying to remember if I. Okay, no. I think I got there Saturday. I got there Saturday, and then I went down and watched a few runs, and then came back, went back to the hotel, slept, and then got ready for my run.
Yeah.
But one thing I actually didn't know is that they had arcade machines at 2D Con.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I wish I had
Oh.
because they had I I I'm pretty sure they had some like DDR and ITG machines, and I would have
Yeah.
loved to have done that.
They had about like 3 or 4 of each, I want to say. They had a
I would have
ton of
loved to
stuff.
I would have loved to have done that,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I guess that's my fault for not exploring the convention more. But yeah, overall, the positives from MWSF did outweigh the negatives. One other thing I just wanted to mention is that I think there were a lack of PCs that you could practice on.
Yeah, I get that. That is again one of the issues with being held at another convention.
Yep.
Aside from it like being specifically a speedrunning convention or a
Yeah.
speedrunning space. Um, and at 2D Con, because we didn't have a designated practice room. I know at Midwinter Speed Sprinter last year and this coming year, we will have another. Or at
Okay.
the past one, we had a designated practice room, and I think we will because I
All
think it's
right.
at the same space again.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you had, if you just had, uh, I just think that there are several people or several organizations out there that you probably could have contacted and rented from, even if it did, I mean, incur a charge from the other people. I think it would have been a good idea to secure at least one
There
practice
were,
computer.
yeah, there were a ton of PCs set up near the arcade space at the convention as well, and I think
Oh,
that's what a lot of people were using for practice. I mean,
I didn't even. Again, I didn't even know that.
yeah, it's one of those issues about being holding a speedrunning marathon at another convention space, especially for those of us that are there primarily for the speedrunning portion.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's I totally get where you're coming from. It was Midwest Speedfest this year was the first time I've been to a convention or I've been to a speedrunning marathon that was held at like another convention where the
Yep.
convention itself was like a really large thing
Yeah.
and it
Uh,
definitely felt weird. I totally get
yeah.
that.
There were more people there for the convention than there were
Yeah.
for like way more.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I think a couple thousand for that
Yeah,
convention,
it's a big convention.
and then maybe a couple hundred for us, if that.
Maybe, yeah. Midwest Speedfest is still kind of small. We're picking up
Yeah,
numbers every day, but yeah. And you ran Pokemon Puzzle Challenge,
intense.
intense, yeah.
And the other thing that got me a little made it not as memorable as NASA for me is that the run that I did, the one run, I only did one run instead of three.
Hmm.
If I had done one more run, it would have been more memorable. But the other thing is, one sec. The other thing is, I ended up going 20 to 25 minutes over estimate on my run,
Mm. Yeah.
which which um I actually know why that happened. It was because I practiced too much. Like I
Hmm.
was there like 3 hours before my run, and I was just doing practice runs
Mm.
for those 3 hours.
And you sort of
And
burnt yourself out.
Pokemon Puzzle Challenge is a game you can't really do that with because
Yeah.
the more you play it, the more worn out you get,
Yeah, totally.
and then you end up. The other thing that contributed to it is the anxiety of being up on a stage, because at NASA we were just sitting in chairs. There was no stage, but
Hmm.
at there was actually a stage, which made you feel like you were a center of attention, and that added more
It does a
pressure.
bit, yeah. I
And
get that.
that caused me to perform a bit worse.
Yeah,
So
no, that's totally okay. I totally get where you're coming from. I Marathons are tricky like that, and every now and then
yeah,
you don't have a good run
the
back.
one funny thing though is every single live marathon I've done, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge Intense, I've gone over estimate. Every online run I've done of either intense or easy to intense, I've gone under
Interesting. Huh. You need to
by
break that curse.
usually by the last marathon I did, which was Valuethon, I went under by about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But but that's because I actually learned from my mistake from MWSF, and which I think my estimate was 45 minutes, and I just didn't think I gave enough time because the Pokemon Puzzle Challenge is one of those games, and Intense especially is one of those games where you have to give, even though your PB's like 30 minutes under your estimate, you have to give
Hmm.
enough of a buffer because
Oh yeah.
so much can go wrong in the run that is out of your control,
Hmm.
that you can just go over estimate extremely easily. So, and it's the same with Pokemon Puzzle League. A lot of the runners of Super Hard, which is the same thing as Intense, but for that they usually give like 30 minute, like a 30 to 45-minute estimate when their runs are like 17 to 18 minutes
Oh
PB
yeah.
wise.
Because yeah, there's such a big gap between like the perfect run versus an average run.
Yeah, and one thing about that is, quite recently, like 4 or 5 months ago, Tayman, who's one of the Pokemon Puzzle League S hard runners, actually got what I consider to be close to a perfect run. He beat the current world record holder, Cards of the Heart, 1704. He got a 1535,
Oh wow.
which is like a god run.
That's crazy.
He basically killed the category. There's
Yeah, no kidding.
nobody's going. I mean, there are still people that are going to run the category, but I don't think anybody's going to try and beat that world record because it's just astronomical how lucky of a run he got. Because that game, Pokemon Puzzle League Super Hard is a lot. There's a lot more RNG.
Yeah.
I'd say there's more RNG than Pokemon Puzzle Challenge Intense, but
Hmm.
it's different RNG. It's more opponent behavior versus heal RNG, which is what you have to deal with in Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. Where on Intense, once the Pokemon gets below 40% HP, they can heal for
Oh
25%
wow.
of their maximum HP. Now, in difficulties below intense, they can only heal like 1 or 2 times per match.
Okay.
On intense they can heal as much as they want.
Ugh.
So basically, you can get into a loop where you literally are fighting the same character or same opponent for
Just
5,
constantly.
10,
Yeah.
15 minutes,
Oh,
if,
jeez.
if if you don't execute right. But it just depends on your skill level. If you're able to, yeah, there's just ways you can mitigate that. But I think I digress now, since we should probably move on to the next
No, no,
topic.
that's okay. That's totally okay. I get that. Holy jeez.
Yeah, and but
um.
that's just what makes
Oh.
running intense, that intense. And I
Yeah.
don't, I've actually, for the upcoming fall speedball.
Yep. You got it.
I think it's mid fall speedball. I
Mid fall
actually didn't even.
speedball.
Uh, I didn't even submit Pokemon Puzzle Challenge this, mainly because it was at a Midwest Speedfest, so
Yeah.
I knew that they probably wouldn't accept, it wouldn't be accepted for that, but also because I want to kind of not submit it nearly as much, because it's starting to get to the point.
Yeah.
I've already gotten to the point once before with Pokemon Puzzle Challenge where I actually stopped speedrunning it for about a month
Yeah.
and a half.
You're starting to feel a little burnout
Because
with it.
not that, it's just that I got so frustrated at the game,
Yeah.
that I just had to say, screw it, and
Yeah.
stop running I just stopped running that game completely, because um you get to a point where you lose 3 to 4 PB runs in a row, and you just are done with the game. And and especially with games with tons of RNG, that's just what you have to do.
Yeah. No, I get that. Um, that can be frustrating. I
Yes.
totally see where that can really wear down on you.
I've actually lost count of how many PB runs I've lost to the RNG.
Huh.
Probably more than 50 by this point.
Yeah, I'm sure. Um, yeah, so we can move on. You had talked a little bit before about some of the games that you want to pick up. Do you want to maybe go in depth a little
Sure.
bit more about some of those?
Sure. So Azure Dreams is, it's like a it's like a mystery dungeon type game.
Okay.
So if you know Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, it's like
Yeah.
that. Where in Azure Dreams you go into a tower. The layout changes every time, but there's us. As with other Mystery Dungeon games, there's only a set number of layouts that are. It's like, one floor is a bunch of different made up of a bunch of different pieces,
Yeah.
uh, and they just choose from a random number of pieces or a random layout, and then they just shuffle the layout every time. It's kind of like that. There's like certain puzzle pieces they can choose from, certain layouts they can choose from, and then they just choose one of those layouts, and that's what you get. The object of the game is to um, look throughout the entire tower for elevators that go up, and your object is to get to the top of the tower and uh, end up. Uh, there's some story elements that I don't want to, but the reason why I don't want to spoil, but the reason why you're going up is because your father went into the tower one day and didn't come back, and
Hmm.
you're following in his footsteps, and you want to get to the top because he got to the top of the tower the day he disappeared.
Okay.
So you want to go and get to the top of the tower to find out what happened, and I am going to say you do find out what happens, but the main difference between the PlayStation 1 and the Game Boy Color version, which is the one I'm going to be learning, the Game
Mm-hmm.
Boy Color version, is that after you do that, you have extra content, not post game, but kind of post game, where you have a second quest, which is to go down the basement.
Okay.
So the second time you go, you do that. You're looking for descenders, which move you into the basement. So you have 30 floors going up, and you have 99 floors going down.
Okay.
And that's why the all bosses category is much longer than any percent, because any percent you're just going up to the top of the tower,
Hmm.
fighting a few bosses along the way, and that's it. And all bosses, you're fighting all the bosses in the game,
Yeah, so you have to
including
go all the way up and all the way down.
including all the ones in the basement, where the final boss is probably one of the hardest bosses that you have.
Yeah.
That it, no, I mean, it's like not only is he the monster with the highest stats, base stats in the game,
Yeah.
um, he comes with 4 allies, all 4 of which are the leaders of the 4 previous bosses you fought.
Okay.
So
Jeez.
so you have so you can only have 2
Huh.
Tamions or familiars out, and you're faced against 5. One of which is my soul. That's the name of the boss.
Yeah.
Um, it he can shoot a spell from anywhere in a straight line, straight at you or one of your Tamions.
Hmm.
If he fires at you, it's a guaranteed one shot, and
Oh boy.
the game's over.
Oh my god.
Because of his level and his stats, he deals like over 100 damage to your main character.
Yeah.
Even if he but that's the reason why the category is so long, is because you have to do strategies, you have to do grinding, you have to do. There's just a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Hmm.
But other than that, it's another very heavy RNG game,
Yeah. As
which
a lot of
is
RPGs tend to be.
which actually for me, I tend to be drawn to those kinds of games. I don't know
Okay.
why. But the second game I'm going to be learning is much more consistent. It's
Okay.
Quest RPG. Brian's Quest, I'm going to be learning the category All Spirits, which is the equivalent to 100%.
Okay.
I It's a much shorter speed run. I've already watched the speed run of the any percent, which is pretty much the same. I follow the same route. I just go out of my way to get all the spirits in the game.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
that one's going to be much more straightforward and a lot easier to learn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only going to have to do maybe 1 or 2 practice runs before I get the entire route down, and then I can do my first run. Whereas in Azure Dreams, I've already put in maybe 50, 60 hours just researching what I need to do, strategies, what items to pick up, what items to leave, which Tamions to get, which ones, where to grind, how to grind. I've already done 50, 60 hours of work into that speed run,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna have to start doing practice runs and then runs, which the practice runs is gonna take me probably another 50, 60 hours,
Yeah.
and then actually doing runs. Like my first one, I'm expecting to be like 6, 7, 8 hours, and then
Jeez.
from there, and then from and then from there it's gonna. But that's the game that That's gonna be the take me the longest to learn.
Yeah. No, I believe it. That's a
And
big.
then yeah, I'm learning these 2 runs to increase my ability. A, because Azure Dreams is one of my favorite games of all time,
Yeah.
and B, because I want to learn new runs, because I've been literally running the same game, like the same list of games
Yeah.
for 6, 7, 8 months, and I'd like to start doing something new.
Yeah. It's nice to
But
have a little bit more variety
yeah,
in there.
but like I said, right now just started a casual 100% playthrough of the remastered edition of Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch.
Okay.
uh, and that game's extremely long, and it's very story driven. So, because I started that, I'm not going to start learning any more speed run. I'm not. Uh, I just want to keep, because it's such a story driven game. I want to keep
Mm.
doing
Hmm.
parts. Keep doing that until it's into the post game, and then once that's done, there isn't that much story I need to remember, so I can go ahead and start doing that then, which I believe is going to be
Hello?
Like
Oh.
it'll be by January of next year is
Okay.
probably when I'll start learning it.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then there's actually another game that I'm another casual
Oh yeah.
playthrough, 100% playthrough I'm doing, which is called Into the Breach, which is a roguelite game.
Okay.
So again, it's another heavy
Oh yeah.
RNG game. I'm eventually going to start to do speed runs of that,
Okay.
but not until I finish 100% playthrough. But
Yeah.
I have on hold at the moment because I want to focus on Ni no Kuni.
Okay. Yeah. Jeez. Oh,
Uh,
I.
and actually, both the games I'm casually playing right now are games I'm eventually going to speed run.
Okay. Props to
With
you
with
for.
Yeah, with the PC version of Ni no Kuni, probably the runs probably gonna be about 7 hours.
Jeez.
Uh, just because the duplication glitch that the PS3 version has got removed.
Oh no.
Basically, it allowed you to duplicate any item.
Oh
So
yeah.
there's an item you pick up in Alma Moon called the Great Sage's Secret, which is like an elixir, full HP MP restore. That's the item you duplicate.
Oh yeah.
You duplicate it 3 different times, two to sell for money because money is extremely tight in that game,
Mhm.
and then one to keep to use
Yeah.
for the entire run. And just because of that, because you're able to get money, a lot of money that way, you cut out another section of the game, which is the casino, which you have to play a game called Platoon, and you have to win 6 times in a row.
Oh
And
jeez.
that's an extremely RNG game to start with. But you have to
Oh
win. Not
man.
only that, but you have to win, and you have to get the prediction right 6 times in a row
God.
in order to get enough money to continue the run.
Uh.
And that's actually the route that the PC version is going to have to take because the duplication glitch is gone.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, but I mean, Platoon in general is easy to learn. It's just
It's just that
RNG.
RNG aspect of
Yeah,
it. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to so basically all the games that I'm going to be learning except for one is going to be adding to the RNG fest. Like I do consider myself somewhat of a masochist, but there's like I mean you have to if you're running the list of games like
Yeah. No kidding.
the list of games on my speedrun.com profile, all of them are extremely heavy in RNG.
Oh man. I was gonna say, yeah, props to you for picking up on so many super heavy RNG games
Yeah.
that.
Well, a
Whew.
lot of a lot of the game, like all the Dr. Mario games, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, like almost all of the puzzle games that I've picked up speed running are games that I've played in the past
Yeah.
that I really enjoyed playing, and that I really like, and that's why I started speedrunning them.
Exactly.
One thing I do want to mention is that I can't afford capture cards, so the only way I'm able to speedrun most of the games that I actually speedrun is by emulation.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
I
if
feel that.
like if you look at my speedrun.com profile, you'll see for every single game except for the PC games, you're going to see Emu next to every
Yeah.
single run.
Yeah. I get that, and that's how it is for a lot of people when they start out.
Yeah,
I
especially when I start to do speedruns of DS games. Um, like there's that whole situation with DS capture cards
Oh
that
gosh, yeah, that's a whole
and
nother beast to try to.
and 3DS capture cards
Yeah.
that unless you bought one early, you're not going to be able to get one
No, not at all. They
because
are super rare
I
these
believe they've
days.
already stopped producing them.
Uh yeah, probably. I think I haven't dipped my toes into speedrunning handheld games yet or trying to stream them, so I don't know specifically, but from friends of mine that have, it's really really hard to get a hold of any of those capture cards.
Yeah, and yes, and they're extremely expensive.
That too. They are.
I believe in general they can run as much as $200 or $300.
Yeah, I was going to say even back when the I want to say 2013, 2014 when I looked into that a little bit, they were still 3DS capture cards were still like 150 to $200.
Yeah, no, and now they're probably a lot more.
They are probably a lot more.
Another device that I really wish I had gotten is a PS TV.
Mm-hmm.
Because those boxes are just really, really nice.
Yeah.
The problem is they're all. I mean, you can speedrun so many different games, off that device with
Mm-hmm.
very short loading times. So, like you can speedrun a ton of different games, like PS1 games, PS2 games,
Yeah,
PS Vita
yeah.
games, PSP games. Like you can, and it's usually the fastest. The problem with it is, unless you've got one early, you're going to be spending like $200
Yeah,
now.
because they're not in production anymore. Exactly.
I
Jeez.
actually didn't know. I actually didn't know they're not in production anymore. But yeah, it's just one. It's just they're really, really nice.
Yeah, I totally get that. I totally
And
know what you mean.
yeah, and there actually are some games on the on a bunch of I have a list of games that I want to eventually learn speedrun, and like
Yeah.
half the list is games I could get and speedrun using the PS TV. Although it wouldn't be the fastest for some of them, like some of the Final Fantasy games,
Hmm.
especially the PlayStation ones, you want to run using a specific PS2 with fastest speed.
Yeah.
Like it's a specific model.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but again, I digress.
I get that. Yeah, so excellent. I guess last thing I want to talk about is I was curious about what some of your extracurricular activities are. What are some of the things that some of the other hobbies that you use to fill your free time?
Well, I actually don't have much free time, but I watch a lot of TV.
Feel that.
I play other games on the computer.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten into Panel Tech now, which is online version of Tetris Attack.
Okay.
And then I occasionally go out and play Pokemon Go.
Excellent. I
Um,
need to get back into Pokemon Go. It's been ages since I last time I played it was like 2 months after it came out.
yeah, I I played it for about 2 or 3 months after it came out, and then I stopped, and then I picked it up about a year later, and then did the
Yeah.
same thing, then stopped, then picked it up a year later, then did the same thing, and then stopped. But a lot of the problem with me is that I didn't have the tablet that I own doesn't isn't able to get data, so the only way I
Oh, yeah,
can
that's
so
hard.
I was tethered to Wi-Fi for about 2 years.
Okay.
But now I actually have a mobile hotspot that I can bring with
Okay.
me. So, and that's what is going to get me to go
Yeah.
out and do more with that. Especially since they added Team Go Rocket or Team Rocket Go, something like that. They added the Team Rocket to Pokemon Go now.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
How
And
exactly does that work?
um, they take over certain Pokestops, and then you have to go and fight them off. And
That's awesome.
they use Shadow Pokemon back. Uh, if you're familiar with Pokemon Coliseum or Pokemon Coliseum XD Gale Darkness, it's the same premise where you have to where they use Shadow Pokemon, and then you capture them, and then you can
Okay.
purify them.
Yeah.
So, but it just looks like the Pokestop, instead of spinning, it's just like jerking around, and it has a little black cloud over it,
That's
like
awesome.
covering it. So you go to a Pokestop, and then you confront them. You fight a couple grunts, and then
That's really cool.
afterwards you can capture. You have a chance to capture one or more of. I think it's just one Shadow Pokemon,
Yeah.
which you can then use like any other Pokemon. It's just something that they add. It's a new activity they added in. Whenever they add new activities, it just make for a good time.
Yeah, no kidding. That's really cool. I did
Yeah,
not know that.
Another thing they added recently was something. They added extremely super rare Pokemon that
Okay.
spawn like once every 3 days.
Huh.
Basically, they're like in Gen 2, they're the unknowns.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, in Gen 4, like Gibble.
Okay.
And then Gen 5, Dino or Dino. So
Yep.
they're like the really strong, really rare. They're the really
Okay.
strong Pokemon, or the really rare, hard to find Pokemon.
Yeah.
They literally spawn once in any given area every few
Okay.
days.
Jeez.
Although they can spawn, it just depends on when they want to spawn. But usually they spawn in populated areas. So if you live in a
Yeah.
suburb,
Yeah.
like even if you live in a suburb, you're not guaranteed to get one. Or if you live in a rural area like me, you're never going to get one.
Yeah, yeah, I feel
So
that.
the and they're also on timers, so you have to get there within a specific period of time.
Okay, yeah,
They
exactly.
yeah they last anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes. So it's like a raid, except not, you don't have to battle, you just have to go there, capture it, and then you get it.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
just like a regular Pokemon then
yeah,
when it shows up. Yeah.
yeah. But except it's like 10 times rarer than the rarest
Yeah, exactly.
Pokemon. They're just ridiculously rare. But
And
I mean, for the Pokemon that they have chosen to be ridiculously rare makes sense to me.
yeah, no, exactly. Interesting.
Yeah.
How many generations do they have included in Pokemon Go these days?
Right now they have four with a couple from Gen 5 in.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how many from Generation 5 they have in. I think they have like 10 or 15
Okay.
out of the over 100 in that generation.
Yeah,
But
so they're
eventually they're going to add Gen 5
yeah.
all of the Pokemon, and that's the Univers region, which is
Yep.
Black, White, Black 2, White 2.
Yep.
And then they're going to catch up
Oh, for sure.
to,
Yeah.
because in between when I first started playing and then the year, they only added one new generation within that year.
Mhm.
But the second time they added generation 3 and 4
Yeah.
within that same period of time, and now they're going into 5. So they've picked up pace.
Yeah, not to mention that it seems like more recent Pokemon games are introducing fewer and fewer new Pokemon.
Yeah, I can't speak for many of the for any generation after 6, because I have not bought or
Okay.
played any of the Sun or Moon, or Shield or Sword. Actually, I was told not to play Shield or
Yeah, me
Sword
too.
because of how bad, like how, like, just graphics wise, it was. I was just told not to buy it, and
Yeah.
even so, I'm not going to buy. I'm not going to be buying any more games for any handhelds or any consoles anymore, because I just spend most of my time on the computer.
Yeah. I feel that.
But so I'm still buying computer games, but not. And also the fact that I have so many games that I haven't played. Like, my Steam account has over 500 games, and I've played maybe 10% of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just to give you. I just have too much.
I totally feel the same way. I get that.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm going to see if there is anybody in
yeah,
chat that
and
has any questions for
I
you as
just
well.
real quick. I have submitted to Midfall Speedball.
Excellent.
The same list of games I submitted for Speedfest, minus Pokemon Puzzle Challenge and a couple of other games. I'm still debating upon if I'm going to submit to the winter, the one in March, because
Yeah,
that's
there's yeah.
that's a live event. I'm just not sure, because financially, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to
Yeah.
do it.
I feel that.
All Even though it's like in Minneapolis, which is like 4 hours away for me.
Mhm.
like I would have. I still am probably gonna submit, but I would if I only get one game in, I'm probably not. I don't know how I'm gonna do it because I don't want to submit and then have one game get accepted and then say I don't want to go. Um,
Yeah.
I would want to. I would have to get more than one game
Yeah.
in order for because to go to a speed running event just to do one game wouldn't. Although by that time, if the one game it just also depends on what the game is. If the one game that I get in ends up being like Azure Dreams All Bosses, which I should have learned by that time, I would go and do that run because it's like 4.5, 5 hours
Yeah.
long. Or even the Quest RPG, I should have learned by that time too. If I get that, and I would go and do that because that would be like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on which game. If
Exactly.
I just don't understand how Sex Rex gets a 5-minute game into into a GDQ and then he goes and just for that run. I just don't understand.
Well, you
Like,
also go to hang out with friends and to
yeah,
spend time at the marathon in general.
yeah,
Or in his case, to
but
sit around and play Pringles for a week straight.
yeah, but for me, if I were to try and get into a GDQ, I would want to try and get a decent, a decently like a 30 to 2 hour long run in instead of a 5 minute. It's just
Well, it depends on. Yeah.
just spending the money to play a 5 minute game just doesn't seem like a good use of money to me.
It's not all about just having the run at the
Yeah,
event. I mean, I've gone to 4 or 5 GDQs now, but I haven't gotten a run into any single one of them. I just like going and spending time with
yeah.
friends, doing whatever there is to do there.
The other thing is the only GDQ I would even be able to do financially would be SGDQ, and that's only if they keep it in. I believe it's Minneapolis right now.
Yep, and I believe it will be next year as well.
Yeah, so I am going to submit for that. But again, I'm only going to go if I get a run in. That's just
Okay.
my that's just the way I am. For any live event, I would have to get at least one run in order to go,
Okay.
and it would have to be a run at least 30 minutes long or longer.
All right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just how I am. I wouldn't want to go there just to do like a 20-minute run and then be done. Although I wouldn't submit a 20-minute run for GDQ, I would
You would
mostly
only
submit
submit the runs that you would enjoy running while
the
you're
runs that
there.
I would enjoy running, the
Yeah.
runs that I have ones that I've already done for other marathons, so I can get video with commentary, submission video with commentary, even though I doubt that they view all submission videos.
No.
But I would just the ones that I know the most, and I would also have to make sure that I'm fairly high up on the leaderboards because they tend not to choose runners
No,
lower on the
exactly. Yeah.
leaderboards. I would have to be either one of the best runners of that game or the only runner of that game.
And even then, sometimes I think one of the criteria that they look for is that there's a decent number of people that run the game. In general, that's kept some of my games out of GDQs in the past, just because I'm not
Yeah,
the
and
only person that runs it.
and that would actually keep that would keep the Dungeon Hearts probably out of
Yeah,
GDQ. I'd still submit it, but it would probably be
it's
rejected.
always worth it to submit.
Yeah, the only other, like, just looking through the list of games that I run, there's only a handful that I'm even in the top three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I could act. There's only one that I would actually be able to. And another thing is they don't accept emulator runs at
No,
GDQ.
no, they don't.
Yeah,
Well, not while you're there, so you'd have to have the hardware for it.
yeah. Basically they don't let you just bring the emulator and run the emulator.
Yeah.
You have to actually run actual, which
Yep.
is another thing that's going to keep me, unless it's a PC game, it's going to keep me out of GDQs.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, like the only game that I can actually submit and probably get in is Dr. Mario Online RX Classic 010, which I'm currently third place in.
Okay.
That's out of like 5 runners. Even then, that's probably that's the only game I'm probably gonna be able to get in, if any.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
So
mean,
it,
it's always worth it to try.
yeah,
That's my mindset anyway.
yeah. Anyways, I think this has gone on. It's been an hour.
Just about, just about.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
So do you have a list, or do you have any questions from chat?
I'm not seeing any at the moment, so I think we're ready to wrap things up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out and
Yep.
doing this with me.
Yep. Do you have any people online that are actually from the Midwest Speedfest community that are actually streaming right now?
I am looking into that. I do not have the I do not have the power to choose who the channel is hosting, unfortunately. So I'm seeing if
Okay. Oh
okay.
no, Gooby
I
just got.
Yep, I just see that. Okay. Uh
Yeah.
so let's see if Gooby can find a host real quick for us. But yeah, once again, thank you so much, RazorFlameKun, for coming and joining me for this Midwest Speedfest Runner Spotlight. Um, for those of you watching later on or right now, follow RazorFlameKun at Twitter, YouTube, Twitch at RazorFlameKun. Name
Yep.
right up there. And then when we get this up on YouTube, we'll have links
Yep.
in the description for you.
You can go ahead and host Studio.
Okay. Uh, yeah. So thank you. Stay tuned for Mid-Fall Speedball coming up November 15th through the 16th. Submissions are only going to be open for a couple more weeks for that, so get your submissions in if you haven't already. Yeah, that's all I have.
Hey, thanks for having me, and I'll see you guys later.
I'll see you later. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.